Hi, Changemakers. Welcome back to another 10,000 Changemakers talk here with Beverly Ehrlich. And today we're going to be talking about your inspiring core. It is something that a lot of us experience where we go to work and we are one person and we come home and we're another person. And that can be a bit of a tough situation to be in for a lot of people. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about tonight. For those of you who are new, I'm Mads Damgaard. I am an Ericsson professional coach, and I'm the founder of the 10,000 Changemakers, where I'm gathering together 10,000 engaged professionals from all walks of life to support them in finding their true path in service of something great. Because I believe that we all need to discover our place in a world that thrives. All right, so welcome to you, Beverly. It's great to be back talking to you. In this, what we're talking about here, your inspiring core is, step number 3 on the roadmap in the 10,000 Changemakers community. If you haven't already, then go check that out. It's put an overview video in the pinned comments above. It's really going to help you find that step-by-step approach to going into a career that is really that really has your heart. And if you find this topic that we're talking about interesting, then please put a like on the video here. It helps bring out this content to more people and helps show you support for what we're doing here. We're trying to bring as much meaning to people as we can, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Beverly Ehrlich is a relationships therapist, and she is really amazing in connecting authentically with ourselves, and using that in connecting with our partners, for instance, or the other people in our lives. And so I thought it would be really great to have a little chat with you, Beverly, about this thing here, like our core, what's closest to us, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, excuse me. It's a great topic, and it's kind of bandied around like you need to know your values and look at a list and tick off the 6 highest values, etc., etc. But what does that really mean? What are our values and what are our beliefs? So, firstly, our beliefs are never neutral. They either pull us forward or they hold us back. So it is important to get in touch with what are our beliefs. And I'm just going to give a little story to show how I understand what values are, other than specific words. I was in a shoe store recently, and a man came in delivering shoes, and he knocked into one of the stands, and in no time, an argument had broken up between him and the owner of the store. And I just froze. And after the whole incident, I just thought, where was I? Where were my values to stay in this shop? I did buy something and I didn't say anything to the owner, and I walked out and I felt a little dirty. And to me, that is what our values are. We need to know, when would we feel in alignment with ourselves? At work, things are going to come up. Are you going to stand up for people? Are you going to speak directly to the boss? Or when do you feel you're silent because nobody said a word in that shoe store, and neither did I? Should I have gotten involved? Shouldn't I? It was very unpleasant, but that feeling that I was unaligned and that dissonance, that's where the suffering comes.
It really is a great story that illustrates what it feels like and what our bodies are telling us when we're out of alignment with these things that are so important for us. And the same thing happens at work, right? Like if you see a colleague that's being bullied, or if your boss is maybe impatient with you, then yeah, you're going to be in touch with those values. You're going to, and most often you're going to have some kind of reaction where you either you get angry, for instance. That's a very common way that our bodies are signaling that our values are not being respected, or you get sad, or you get you feel frustrated, and it's such a great thing to keep an eye on. And this is not a lot of maybe the men that are listening to this, maybe feel a little bit maybe hesitant about talking about feelings and all this fluffy stuff, but feelings are really messengers of some really important things, and the more finely tuned we're in tune with our feelings, like what you were there, and with your feeling of kind of disgust, or that feeling of having let yourself down, maybe feeling like you hadn't lived up to the standard or the value that you had about how you live your life. um, that's such a valuable instrument, right? It's an extra piece of information you can use to live your life in a really effective way.
Very. And another way that can come out in the leadership in a company is if your boss can say to you, tell me if I've given you too much work and what it is you need. If you need extra help, if you need days off to do something, or if you need more information, then it's easier to live within your values rather than becoming so overwhelmed that you can't manage everything. And then you're just sort of running around like a chicken without its head. And that's also when you overstep your values, and there's that dissonance again and the suffering.
Yeah.
So what I would always offer when you're looking for a job is to find a place where you feel safe, when you can go to the boss and say, you've asked me to do this X, Y, and Z. This is what I need. Is that possible? For me to get this done, this is what I need. To have that open relationship and that safety. And then you will be that person who I can count on, because I can count on your honesty to tell me what your needs are. You're that person. I know you. There's not you can't do everything, but you'll let me know how I can help you.
Absolutely. Have feeling safe to actually bring the full you to bear on any situation, and allows you, as you said, to be really honest about what you need in order to bring the best result forward. Because you're right, as if you're in an environment that doesn't welcome your input, that doesn't welcome your feelings or your perspective on certain things, then yeah, you're gonna hide it, and you're gonna become inauthentic, being out of alignment. There are two important words here that I really like to talk to my clients about, which is, one is integrity and one is authenticity. And integrity, for me, the way I interpret it, is living in according to how you think life should be led, like what you were just talking about. That is integrity. And the other one is authenticity, which is being able to allow yourself to be seen the way that you are. And
Beautiful.
those two words there are really key. And oftentimes we can be in integrity, but not in authenticity, if we, since, as you say, in an environment where a boss
Right.
doesn't really appreciate us for who we are.
Right. I'd like to add to that. That's beautiful the way you brought those two words. So for me, integrity is it's keeping agreements with yourself, and then keeping agreements with others, and keeping agreements with something bigger. It could be the universe, that you're supposed to bring out something, or your job, right? It also, then, an added element for me is cleaning up what's not closed. In other words, and if you think of it as a circle, what's draining your energy? In other words, if I was walking on a pavement and you were coming towards me and I want to cross the road, I'm not in integrity. There's something that's draining my energy. I've had a difficult relationship with you, and now I'm not in integrity. And that's cleaning up the past to make it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece that you brought in, the authenticity, what I loved is, it's about being vulnerable and being courageous to show up as you really, really are. And that's where deeper connections are made. When I take off all my masks and I say, this is difficult for me, or this doesn't sit with me. That's the authentic part.
Yeah, and I feel compelled to share. Just before we jumped on the stream here, I was just telling Beverly how things have been a little bit difficult. I've also, maybe you guys have noticed that I've been absent from the group, but there's been a lot going on. And without kind of getting too much into it, then yeah, it's just my energy is a little bit it's a little bit hard, a little bit heavy. Maybe you can also feel that right now, and it feels good to be allowed to say yes. This is I'm actually kind of feeling like I've been having a hard time, and I'm looking forward to having a little bit of an easier time in the future. And because what happens if, yeah, if we have to be one person on the job and another person off the job, or one person with our friends and another person with our loved ones, other loved ones, it splits us in two. And that inauthenticity, we can't handle that in the long run. I see that with my clients that feel like they are, that, yeah, that they're living two lives, that they're two people, and it just tears them apart. And I think one of the key things that the 10,000 Changemakers community is supposed to achieve is to help people be one person. Because I don't think it works. It does not work for a majority of my clients to leave who they are at home when they go to work. You have to bring your full self to work. You know, otherwise it doesn't work. And I'd love to
Right.
post that as a question to you guys that are living there. What do you think? Is it possible in the long run to leave who you are at home and be somebody at the job that you need to be for the job to work? Is that possible? And
So,
what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? You know,
right.
please jump in the comments. I'd love to hear what.
It's a beautiful question, because what you're highlighting is a fragmented self, which is already a trauma symptom. That I'm only going to show you part of myself, and that takes a lot of energy, right? I'm only going to show you the happy, happy part. That's the one side of it. The other side of it is what you were saying, that you feel your energy is low. When you can allow that, then you'll also feel the joys and the happiness and the passion. Once you can feel the sadness and the grief without judging it, just allowing it, you also have more of a broader spectrum of who you can be in this world. And you can bring all of them,
Yeah.
all of those pieces. The boss likes you because you've got a mean sense of humor, but you've got a side of you that gets quiet every now and again. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
Yeah, what you're talking about there reminds me of, it's such a strange phenomenon that happens with our feelings. Um, if we somehow feel that we can't be who we are in certain part of our lives, then it often ends up that we're going to be tightening off somewhere in the body, often in the throat or in the heart space or in the belly space. And what happens is it's a tension that, like what you said, like kind of puts a kink in the hose of our expression and our freedom and our feeling and our joy and our energy.
And our connection, because I've got to also maintain that kink in the hose or work out how to get around. There's a lot of effort and energy going into it.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't just stop the feeling of anxiety and kind of hard, difficult feelings. It also stops the good feelings. So if you have that inauthenticity and that kink, that it helps you manage the bad side, but it also cuts off the great side, the beautiful side, the happiness, the laughing out loud. So as I loved what you were saying there about kind of, it's really important to let yourself feel those low feelings. You know, they're okay. They're there as messengers of some needs that maybe are not being met at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They're the portal. Beautiful. That is so true. They're the portal. They come to tell you, let's go through that door and see what's on the other side. That's so true.
yeah. Um, yeah. I I kind of feel like there's more in this, this core message. Like, I hear so many people that want to be their full selves at work, and they can't. They don't really. They feel like they're not able to. And one of the main reasons for that is, I think, because deep down they might know that what they're doing is not really something they're really passionate and interested about. And
Mm.
that they can feel that feeling deep down, that this is not really something that I'm interested in, but they can't show that at work.
Mm.
And if you look at all the statistics, like Gallup State of the Global Workplace, they say that as much as 80%, 85% of those working in Western Europe today are emotionally unengaged in their work.
Mm.
Is that just shows that there's 80 to 85% that in a lot of ways are not showing up authentically.
Mm.
This is not a criticism of
No, it's an observation.
right?
I think I would hazard a guess that most people, they don't show up fully anywhere. It's not like they're not showing up fully at work, but they are at home because they haven't shown up fully from a much younger place. It wasn't safe for them to show up fully. And so it's not that they're not enjoying their work as much, but there's a sense of, I'm not safe to show my full self. And that's a very familiar feeling to them from a much younger place. That's my sense of what's going on here.
That's I love that therapeutic perspective that you're bringing into this, because um, you're referring to that, like we are our whole lives, or we are our whole selves, and there's so much of who we are today that is grounded in who we were and the situation that we grew up in. And you're right, if you grew up in a family where you had to be kind of in a certain way in order to feel loved, in order to be really kind of taken care of, then yeah, you're gonna carry that in, and you're not gonna have that authentic, this is who I am actually feeling.
Right.
You're not gonna notice it, perhaps, right? There's a lot of people that don't identify with this, like, no, I am who I am. I'm very authentic,
Right.
don't come and tell me I'm not authentic. But if you start to dig into it underneath, they'll start to say, yeah, it's important to go to work because it's important to go to work. It's important to do this thing because, it's important to have a good job. It's important to have a good education. You have to have a certain standard of living and whatnot. And when you start to question, where did all that come from?
Those are the beliefs.
Those are the beliefs
Are they pulling you forward, or they're pulling you back, or they're holding you back?
yeah. Or are they kind of keeping you on a treadmill,
Mm-hmm.
compelling you to grasp, to get more, to have a bigger car, to have the biggest house you can get, to have all of this stuff that, if you're, when you feel safe in yourself, you don't really need all of that stuff.
Right.
And
And that's beautiful, because it's about feeling safe initially within yourself. You don't necessarily need the outside world to tell you're a good person,
no,
but you want a sense of belonging. And that's also where you can make the distinction of, who do you listen to who criticizes you? Is it somebody who has a valuable opinion to you, or someone who doesn't really know you, it's not of value to you?
no, yeah.
There was something else you said.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't know if there are any comments here. I can't see them right now. If there are, I'm sorry, but I can't see them right now. I'll do my best to take a look at them afterwards. And if you have any questions, if some of what we're talking about sparked some interest with you, then please put a comment down below. It really it helps bring out this content to more people in the group. It doesn't go outside of the group because we're in a private space here. But we'd love to clarify any points here. Yeah.
I would like to offer, before we end,
Mm-hmm.
that if it resonates with anybody, this feeling of, I don't feel safe, so I hold part of myself back and I only show a small part of myself, is to just notice, where do you feel safe? And to try and call back those feelings, just with a deep breath. Who is the person? It could also be a dog, a pet. It could be an inanimate object where you feel safe. And if you can bring those feelings, what does it feel like to be safe? Who are you when you're safe? What comes out of you when you feel safe? You know, how do you contribute and show up in the world?
Mm.
So I would like to leave that as an offering to just notice, where do you feel safe?
Yeah. And so great, because then you can expand it from there, right? If you have that little, if you have that little spark of like, this is where I actually feel safe, and I can create from there.
Right.
A lot of times for the people that I work with that suffer from stress, I a lot of times recommend them to have like little projects that they can do. A lot of people like knitting, a lot of people like crocheting, I think it's in English, even needlepoint. There's a great documentary about mindfulness that interviews an inmate, this big, burly, strong man that had, several sentences for violent crimes, but the way he managed his mindset was needlepoint. And you saw him sitting there spending all of his focus on just a simple, it's not easy, you have to keep everything in mind, but it's not complex. It's complicated, but it's not complex. So that means that it's predictable. It gives your mind something to run with, but it doesn't overwhelm you. And that's a great place to really kind of practice that feeling of safety. If you don't have so many experiences with it, having like something simple to do, or a coloring book or something like that.
Beautiful.
Funny, but it really works.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Great. It doesn't seem like there are any questions. So yeah, thank you so much, Beverly, for taking some time to.
Thank you.
We are going to be back probably next week, or we'll do a little bit better job of announcing when things come up next time. And yeah, for all of you guys watching, I hope this was a little bit helpful or a little bit interesting. If it was, please put a like on the video. It really helps bring out this content to more people in the group. And yeah, if you're watching on the replay, put #replay in the comment, so I know that you guys are seeing this and that you're enjoying what's going on here. All right, so I look forward to sharing more stuff with you soon, talks and interviews and live trainings. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, guys.